If you want to know what's causing all of this damage, if you want to point at things less generic than just fatherlessness and motherlessness when you're looking at an entire generation of children that are under complete assault, to brainwash them, to make them second-guess every God-given construct that used to be healthy-mindedness or being raised with values, to appreciate your fellow human even if they disagree with you. Just a basic sense of moral obligation to respect the fact that others may differ from you in the way that they look, the color of their skin, without trending towards the elimination of people that oppose you because they're the opposers and you're the oppressed and they're here to eradicate your way of life. If you want to look at layers and layers and layers as you peel back the curtain on this thing, yes, you can generically blame all kinds of things. Alcohol for the father that batters his children. But one of the things that I believe definitely occupies probably one of the most gravitous things that you could blame for this that gets the least amount of discussion. Let's just put it that way. To me, it's the elephant in the room, and that's the porn industry. Many sociopaths, many murderers, many rapists, people living on in jail cells, living out life sentences, most of them would admit that at some point they share a commonality, and that is porn addiction. Because it was the first place in life where they started saying, yes, anything I can daydream, that's where I'm going to take my imagination. The problem with that is we were created to be submissive to a creator. And we are never going to be satisfied until we find out why God put us here, and then we fervently, at our own sacrifice, serve that end. There might be moments where you feel gratification for the thing that happened under your watch while God gave you stewardship over something. You may be proud of something that happened that you can see the good in while you were on that journey. But most of the effective ones, Kyle, you know this, it comes with hardship, it comes with challenge, it comes with financial uncertainty. Sometimes there are medical prognoses that interrupt your temporal feelings of joy or titillation. There's challenges, man. Sometimes it's hard to do the right thing, to take care of a family, to walk in faith when you don't know for sure what tomorrow's going to bring. And so when you say, yes, I'm going to emotionally and mentally entertain anything in the world that I daydream, and there's no bumper rails, there's no boundaries, there's no rules, I'm just going to satisfy my flesh in anything that it wants, most of these people would tell you that pornography was one of the most effective catalysts in conditioning their mind into that cycle, looking for self-gratification, appease the flesh at the cost of anything and anything else, anything or anyone else. You start to objectify human beings and then reduce them to nothing more than playthings. These are not people's daughters. These are not people's mothers or sisters or human beings. These are things that only exist to bring me pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's
you
no
see what
soul.
I'm saying?
There's no soul. There's no spirit.
Soul.
Yeah, it's just an entity for me to do whatever I need to do with. The complete dehumanization.
That's right. And I use this often because people get it really quickly. That old saying, if you give a mouse a cookie, he wants a glass of milk. There's no moment where you give a mouse a cookie and he doesn't come back immediately for something else. You've just trained him that there's going to be more. He's very unhappy if you cut off the gravy train. He's going to move somewhere else and find it somewhere else. Anytime you say yes to the flesh, and then like Ephraim, you push the conviction of the Holy Spirit away, or even indulge in these industries in ignorance, your brain is still under the same kind of neurologically induced hit that many drug addicts experience. It's progressive. What made me excited yesterday is utterly bored today. And now there's a progression. A totally normal heterosexual male finds it erotic to watch beautiful women enacting on camera what appears to be consensual, we'll just call it lovemaking. After 2 or 3 months of that, bored out of his mind. His spouse, bored out of his mind. And I'm not going to articulate the varying ways that people end up enacting this out, but I can tell you at the bottom of this thing, it's progressive, it's dangerous, peeping toms turn into rapists. Eventually, when people have tried to titillate and satisfy this inner sinful man flesh, this meat suit that we're stuck in, when they find that there is no possible way to satiate that with what they can simply watch on a screen, they now have to act something out. This becomes abuse. This becomes tormenting loved ones. This might be that a child in the home in proxy, or a neighbor's kid, or someone down the street is a young woman or a young boy. They're going to find a way to enact this out. This is why child abuse is at an all-time high right now, even though we're having a revival in this country. This is why I say it's a dichotomous situation where you see good rising and you see evil fighting to maintain control at the same time. Satan has not given up at all. This battle is not over at all. Revival has only just begun. We need to be very focused in now what our offense is going after. There's no way to satiate the flesh. It is progressive, it is dangerous, and the thought that you would ever achieve satisfaction through watching pornography or enacting out any daydream that you can possibly construct is to only be a part of becoming a monster.
Yeah.
And I've had people push back on it. Well, no, people use porn for years. What are you talking about? I said, no, not when you see the side effects of where this go. I think it makes people better at masking who they're becoming. And why do you think that is? When every time, well, we had no idea. The newspaper breaks, or little Tommy was touched by a neighbor. Most of the time, the narratives, we never saw it coming. Not that guy. He did cookies for the church fundraiser. What are you talking about? He was the school driver, the bus driver. What are you talking? He was a pastor. What are you talking about? So why is this becoming the church's problem? We're going to get into that right now. The church is harboring this dirty little secret because of their recreational use of pornography, because leaders and church attendees may not realize that with every click, with every view, with every watch, they have no idea how that is fueling an industry that is creating the demand for paid-for sex with children and with prostitutes and with slaves. How does porn do all of that? How is it not this clean, contained little private activity that takes place on a computer? Because it normalizes exploitation. It's that slippery slope we just described. Evil power dynamics, where now control must be executed over someone else. It's no longer interesting just making love to someone. You have to control them. Pretty soon, Kyle, even though you've said let's be uncensored, it goes to dark places too sinister to even unpack in a program like this, where the screams of suffering become the only way that some of these people can find a momentary and fleeting moment of erotic.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
It does, unfortunately. I mean, anybody that's looked into this topic in the least little bit, because it's a dark thing, especially, you've made a very clear connection, which nobody can argue, I don't think, between pornography abuse and the dehumanization that comes with, psychosis and these things that a serial killer or a murderer would eventually get involved with. And ultimately, you have other things too that pattern-wise start to happen. The experimentation on animals, the murdering of animals, and this.
Right.
Ultimately, it's the dehumanization occurs in the mind, and it's almost like you become dehuman yourself in the process of dehumanizing other people.
That's
and
right.
It's like you swing the door open wider and wider and wider for Satan to have more and more of a foothold in there and drive out all the light and only leave darkness.